It's a Tuesday night at Laureate, one of Manhattan's most expensive steakhouses. Then a man stands abruptly. His chair scrapes across the floor. "Stop!" His voice cuts through the room. "Everyone stop!" 80 diners freeze mid-conversation. Forks hover in the air. The man stares at something on his plate. His face has gone completely white. "Who made this?" His hand trembles slightly as he points at a side dish. "Who made this?" His voice cracks. Whether from shock or fury, no one can tell. The head chef steps forward, confident, then stops. The manager's face drains of color. Every head in the restaurant slowly turns toward a black woman in a server's uniform. She stands near the kitchen doors, tray balanced on her hip. Her name tag reads, Sage. She doesn't flinch, just meets his stare with something unreadable in her eyes. What happens when the person you've been overlooking turns out to be the only genius in the room? Sage Moreau has worked at Laureate for 7 years, and then 7 years of carrying plates that weigh more than the tips she takes home. 7 years of smiling through sweetheart and honey from men who never look at her face. 7 years of being invisible in a room designed for people who take up space. She's 36 now. Her feet ache by hour 3 of every shift. The small of her back burns by hour 6. But she never complains, never slows down. The other servers know her as the reliable one, the one who never drops a plate, never forgets an order, never loses her composure when a customer snaps their fingers like she's a dog. What they don't know is that Sage can tell the temperature of a kitchen by the smell alone, that she can identify 17 different herbs blindfolded, that her hands remember techniques she hasn't practiced in years. Every morning, Sage wakes at 5. Her studio apartment in the Bronx is barely big enough for a bed and a kitchenette, but that kitchenette is her laboratory. Before the sun rises, before the city fully wakes, she tests recipes. A new spice blend, a different ratio of acid to fat, small adjustments that most people would never notice, but that she feels in her bones. She writes everything in a notebook. 347 original recipes. Not a single person has tasted them. By 6:30, she's on the subway, 90 minutes each way. She reads cookbooks on her phone, studies techniques from chefs in Bangkok, Lima, Lagos, places she'll probably never visit. At Laureate, she ties on her apron and becomes what they expect. Quiet, accommodating, invisible. But in the kitchen, when no one's watching, her eyes track everything. The way the line cooks move, how long the chef lets the reductions simmer, the temperature he pulls the meat at. She catalogs it all, stores it away. Sage's story didn't start in a Bronx studio apartment. 19 years ago, she held an acceptance letter from Le Cordon Bleu in Paris. Full scholarship. Her father cried when she told him. Her mother bought a French dictionary and started practicing basic phrases. "Ma fille va devenir chef," her mother would say, beaming. "My daughter is going to be a chef." Sage was packed, ready. 3 days before her flight, her father collapsed at work. Massive heart attack. Gone before the ambulance arrived. The medical bills came first. Then the funeral costs. Then the mortgage payments her mother couldn't make alone. Sage deferred her admission. Just for a semester, she told herself. Just until things stabilized. But things never stabilized. Her mother worked 3 jobs to keep their house in Louisiana. Sage sent money home every month. The deferral became a year, then 2. Then a quiet withdrawal. Le Cordon Bleu sent her a letter. "We hope you'll reconsider when circumstances allow." She keeps it in the same drawer as her recipes, evidence of a life that could have been. Sage moved to New York at 23, started as a dishwasher at a small bistro in Queens, worked her way to prep cook, then line cook. Her hands were fast, her palate was sharp. The head chef noticed. "You've got something," he told her once. "Real talent. Don't waste it." But kitchens are brutal. 18-hour days, burns that never fully heal. And for a black woman in a white male-dominated space, Every mistake was magnified. Every success was attributed to luck. When Laureate opened under new ownership 5 years ago, Sage applied for a line cook position. She had the experience, the skills, the references. The new general manager looked at her resume, then at her face. "We're actually looking for front-of-house staff right now," he said. "Someone with your presence would be perfect for serving." Presence. The word hung in the air like smoke. She took the job. She needed the money. Her mother's arthritis was getting worse. The medication wasn't covered by insurance, so Sage became a server. Again. But she couldn't stay away from the kitchen entirely. Chef Marcus, the head chef at Laureate, is everything a restaurant wants on paper. Culinary Institute of America. Stages at 3 Michelin-starred restaurants. A James Beard nomination. He's also mediocre. Sage noticed it within a week. His reductions break. His proteins cook unevenly. His plating lacks intention. And when he gets stuck, when a dish isn't working and the pressure builds, he finds her. "Sage." His voice is low, urgent. "I need you to fix this. Quietly." The first time it was a sauce that had split. She showed him how to bring it back with an ice cube and constant whisking. He nodded, sent it out, took the credit. The second time it was a vegetable side that tasted flat. She added a compound butter she'd made at home, brought depth and complexity to something that had been aggressively boring. Again, he said nothing to the other cooks. Just sent it out under his name. It's happened 7 times now. 7 dishes that saved reviews, impressed critics, kept customers coming back. All attributed to Chef Marcus. The kitchen staff knows. The line cooks have seen her slip in after hours, practicing on the equipment. They've tasted her food during family meal when she cooks her version of staff dinner. Diego, the young line cook from the Bronx, once asked her, "Why don't you say something? Tell someone it's your food?" Sage just smiled. "And tell them what, Diego? That the black woman serving tables is a better cook than their decorated white chef? How do you think that conversation ends?" Diego had no answer. There's one person who knows the truth. Mrs. Eleanor Baptiste, 82 years old, Haitian, former owner of a beloved restaurant in Crown Heights that closed 10 years ago. She comes to Laureate every Friday, always requests Sage's section, always tips 35%. "I know what you do, child," she told Sage once, her voice quiet but firm. "I can taste your hand in these dishes, the ones they call specials. That's you, isn't it?" Sage didn't deny it. "Why do you let them steal from you?" Mrs. Baptiste asked. "Because I still get to cook," Sage said simply. "Even if no one knows it's me, I still get to create. That's enough for now." Mrs. Baptiste shook her head. "No, baby, it's not enough. And one day, you're going to know that." Every night after her shift, Sage pays Carlos, the night custodian, $20. In exchange, he lets her back into the kitchen after closing. From midnight to 2 a.m., the kitchen is hers. She practices techniques she learned from YouTube videos and library books, practices the things Le Cordon Bleu would have taught her. Knife skills, sauce work, the perfect sear. She cooks for no one, photographs, nothing. Just cooks because her hands need to remember. Because someday, maybe there will be a moment. A moment when being invisible is no longer survivable. Tonight is that moment. She just doesn't know it yet. Richard Hastings III arrives at Laureate at 7:30, 15 minutes late for his reservation. He doesn't apologize. The hostess rushes to greet him. "Mr. Hastings, your table is ready." He doesn't acknowledge her. Just walks past like she's part of the furniture. 4 people trail behind him. 2 venture capitalists in expensive casual wear. A lifestyle journalist with a recording device clipped to her jacket. A brand consultant who hasn't looked up from his phone since they walked in. Richard Hastings is 44. Tech billionaire. Made his fortune in artificial intelligence and automation. His latest venture has been featured in Vanity Fair, Wired, and Forbes in the same month. The headline that keeps appearing, "The Man Who Will Revolutionize Food." He moves through the dining room like he owns it. Loud laugh, expansive gestures. His voice carries across 3 tables. "The problem with restaurants," he says as he sits, "is inefficiency, human error, emotion. You can't scale emotion." The journalist writes this down. Sage appears at the table with water, sparkling for some, still for others. She remembers from the reservation notes. "Good evening," she says. Hastings doesn't look up, just holds up one finger while he finishes his sentence. "What I'm building eliminates the variable. Perfection. Every time. No bad days, no attitudes." He finally glances at Sage. His eyes skip over her face, land on her apron. Sparkling. Cold. Not room temperature like last time. Sage pauses. "This is your first visit to Laureate, sir." His eyes narrow slightly. "Then make sure it's not a problem." She nods, sets down the waters, leaves. At the next table, a white male server approaches a different group, forgets to bring lemon for their water. "No problem, buddy," the customer says. "Happens to the best of us." The contrast isn't lost on the kitchen staff watching from the pass. Hastings orders without looking at the menu. Modifications on every dish. The steak cooked at an exact temperature. The sauce on the side. No garnish. "I'm testing something," he tells his table. "I need to experience what the best human kitchens can produce. For comparison." The journalist leans forward. "Comparison to what?" "To my prototype. Automated kitchen, AI-driven recipe optimization, zero human involvement beyond initial programming." One of the VCs laughs. "You really think a machine can outcook a trained chef?" "I don't think so," Hastings says. "I know it. Cooking is chemistry plus heat plus time. All variables that can be controlled more precisely by algorithms than by human hands." His voice gets louder. He wants nearby tables to hear. "The restaurant industry is broken. Inconsistent quality, labor costs, human chefs having creative visions that change week to week. What customers want is reliability." The journalist writes faster. "But what about the soul? What about artistry?" Hastings waves his hand dismissively. "Soul is just marketing. Artistry is pattern recognition. Feed an AI 10,000 recipes and it can generate the 10,001st, better than the original." In the kitchen, Chef Marcus is sweating. He's heard who's dining tonight. A billionaire, a journalist, potential investors. This meal matters. The steak goes out first, cooked perfectly to specification. Hastings cuts into it, chews. His face remains neutral. "Competent," he says. Just competent. The word lands like an insult. The sides come next. Roasted potatoes, broccolini, and Brussels sprouts. But there's a problem. The Brussels sprouts are burning. The line cook got distracted. The pan sat too long on high heat. "Chef!" Diego calls out. "Brussels sprouts are—" "I see it," Marcus snaps. He stares at the ruined vegetables. 3 minutes until the plate needs to go out. His eyes dart around the kitchen, land on Sage, who's picking up drinks at the bar station. "Sage." His voice is urgent but quiet. "I need you." She looks at him, knows what's coming. "Fix this. Now. You know what to do." She glances at the door. She has 4 tables waiting. "Chef, I'm in the middle of—" "Do you want to keep your job?" His voice is barely above a whisper, but the threat is clear. Sage sets down her tray. She walks into the kitchen like she's done this 100 times before. Because she has. 8 minutes. That's all she has. She salvages what she can from the burned Brussels sprouts, cuts away the charred parts, adds fresh ones. Her hands move with the speed and precision of someone who has lived in kitchens her entire life. Bourbon. Brown butter. She deglazes the pan. The alcohol burns off. The butter browns to exactly the right shade of hazelnut. Honey. just enough for sweetness without cloying. Smoked paprika, a whisper of it. Cider vinegar to cut through the fat, finishing salt at the last second. She tastes it once, adjusts, tastes again. Perfect. She plates it and slides it to the pass. The Brussels sprouts nestle beside the steak like they were always meant to be there. Go, Marcus says. Sage unties the kitchen apron, ties on her server apron, returned to the dining room. No one saw her, except the line cooks, except Diego, who watches her leave and shakes his head. The plate goes to Hastings' table. He's mid-sentence, talking about labor costs and automation curves. He picks up his fork, takes an absent-minded bite of the Brussels sprouts. And everything changes. Hastings stops talking mid-sentence. His fork hovers in the air. He chews slowly. His expression shifts from confusion to something unreadable. He takes another bite. Deliberate this time. The table goes quiet. The VCs exchange glances. Hastings sets down his fork, cuts another piece, takes his time. Then he stands, fast. His chair scrapes the floor. Stop! His voice cuts across the dining room. Everyone stop! Conversations die. Silverware freezes. 80 people turn. Hastings points at his plate. Who made this? The manager rushes over. Mr. Hastings, is something wrong? Wrong? This is the most extraordinary thing I've tasted in 5 years. The restaurant holds its breath. That's Chef Marcus's... No. Hastings cuts him off. I've had Marcus's food. The steak was competent. This? He holds up a Brussels sprout. This is different. Chef Marcus emerges from the kitchen, confident. Thank you, Mr. Hastings. I've been working on... Stop lying. The words land like a slap. I know the difference between competent cooking and genius. You didn't make this. Who touched this plate? The kitchen door is open. Diego stands inside, frozen. You. Line cook. Who made this? Diego's eyes go wide. He looks at Marcus. Then at Sage, standing 3 tables away. Diego, Marcus warns quietly. But Diego is tired of lying. Sage made it, chef. Silence. Sage. Hastings scans the room. Who is Sage? Diego points to the black woman in a server's uniform. Hastings stares. You made this dish? Yes, sir. You're a server. Yes, sir. But you cook. When needed. Hastings turns to Marcus. She's a server and she cooks better than you? Marcus's jaw tightens. She helped with prep, but the recipe is mine. Tell me what's in this dish, Hastings says to Sage. Exact ingredients. Her voice is steady. Brussels sprouts, bourbon, brown butter, honey, smoked paprika, cider vinegar, and finishing salt. Ratio of bourbon to butter? 1:3. When do you add the honey? After the alcohol burns off heat so it doesn't crystallize. Hastings turns to Marcus. Did you know any of that? Marcus says nothing. This woman just described a dish with the precision of a trained chef, and you have her carrying plates? Hastings sits back down. The restaurant watches. Sage, come here. She sets down her water pitcher, walks to his table. Every phone in the room is recording now. You made this during service? Yes, sir. How long? 8 minutes. He laughs without humor. I've spent 2 years trying to program an AI to do what you just did. $40 million, and it still can't make something that tastes like this. He stands, faces her directly. I'll pay you $10,000 right now if you cook me one more dish. Your choice, your rules. 30 minutes. Whispers erupt. Sir, I'm working. I have tables. I'll pay every bill in your section. I need to know if this was luck or skill. The manager steps forward. Mr. Hastings, Sage isn't technically a cook. Then film it. If something goes wrong, sue me. He turns back to Sage. What do you say? Prove this wasn't a fluke. He pauses. Or go back to serving tables and pretending this is all you're capable of. The challenge hangs in the air. Every eye in Laureate is on Sage. Mrs. Baptiste sits at her corner table. She catches Sage's eye, nods once. Do it. Diego watches from the kitchen door. The line cooks have gathered behind him. 80 phones pointed at her, waiting. This is the moment when invisibility stops being survivable. One dish, Sage says quietly. I choose everything. Hastings smiles. Done. Sage stands at Hastings's table. The weight of 80 stares presses against her shoulders. Her mind races. She could refuse. Walk away. Keep her small, safe invisibility. Keep sending $800 home every month. Keep her mother's medication covered. Keep surviving. Or she could step into the kitchen, in front of everyone, with cameras recording, with a billionaire watching, with Chef Marcus seething, with her job, her stability, her carefully built life on the line. One dish, 30 minutes, $10,000. But it's not about the money. It's about the 7 years of being invisible. The 300 recipes in her drawer that no one has tasted. The midnight practice sessions in an empty kitchen. The dream she buried when her father died. It's about every time Marcus took credit for her work. Every time a customer snapped their fingers at her. Every time someone looked at her uniform and decided they knew exactly what she was capable of. Her father's voice echoes in her memory. Cooking is love made visible, baby girl. Her mother's last phone call. Don't let them make you small, Sage. The acceptance letter from Le Cordon Bleu, still in her drawer after 17 years. Exceptional promise. Sage looks at Mrs. Baptiste. The old woman's eyes are bright, knowing. She looks at Diego. He's barely breathing. She looks at the kitchen. The real kitchen. Not the one she sneaks into at midnight. The one where she belongs. She reaches behind her back, unties her server's apron, the black fabric that has defined her for 7 years, folds it carefully, precisely, sets it on Hastings's table. I'll need the kitchen, she says. Her voice is quiet, but every person in the room hears it. 30 minutes. No interruptions. Pemberton stammers. Sage, I don't think... Do I have the kitchen or not? Hastings cuts in. Clear it. Everyone out except her. Marcus steps forward. That's my kitchen. Not for the next 30 minutes, it's not. Hastings doesn't even look at him. Sage removes her name tag, sets it next to the apron. The walk to the kitchen is 30 feet. It feels like 30 miles. Her shoes click against the hardwood, the only sound in the entire restaurant. She reaches the kitchen doors, places both hands flat against them, takes one breath, deep, centering, then pushes through. The kitchen staff stares at her. She looks different now. Taller somehow. The invisible woman is gone. In her place stands someone they've only glimpsed in fragments, late at night, in stolen moments. Diego, she says, I need a clean station. Mise en place for a protein dish. Your best cut. Diego grins. We got a short rib. Was saving it for a family meal. Perfect. She looks at him. Really looks at him. Thank you. She ties on a cook's apron. Not the server's uniform. A real kitchen apron. Washes her hands with the slow precision of a surgeon preparing for surgery. The water runs hot. The soap smells like lemon. Her hands, calloused from carrying trays, remember a different kind of work. She dries them, looks at her station. Everything she needs is there. Closes her eyes. The noise of the dining room fades. The pressure of the cameras fades. Even the fear fades. What remains is muscle memory. 17 years of dreaming. 7 years of practicing in shadows. She opens her eyes. They're different now, focused, alive, burning. In the dining room, Hastings sits back down, checks his watch. 30 minutes, he announces to the restaurant. Starting now. Sage stands at her station. The short rib sits before her like a challenge. Her hands tremble, just slightly, just enough that she notices. She breathes. Once, twice. The trembling stops. 30 minutes. One dish. 80 witnesses. She surveys what Diego has laid out. Short rib. Root vegetables. Fresh herbs. Pantry staples. Her mind works like a formula, like music, like something she's known her entire life. The dish appears in her head fully formed. Not a recipe she's made before. Something new. Something that will use every technique she's practiced in the dark. Bourbon braised short rib. Blackberry gastrique. Celery root puree. Charred broccolini. She reaches for the short rib. The meat is cold, dense, marbled with fat. She can feel its potential in her hands. Salt, pepper, smoked paprika. Smoked. Her fingers move without thought, seasoning with the precision of someone who has done this 10,000 times in her mind. Then something unexpected. She reaches for the coffee grounds. Just a whisper. Just enough to add depth without announcing itself. The cast iron pan is already screaming hot. She sets the short rib in. The sound fills the kitchen. Violent. Perfect. The sear is everything. The Maillard reaction. The transformation of protein and heat into flavor that humans have craved for millennia. In the dining room, heads turn toward the kitchen. The smell reaches them. Primal. Rich. Complex. "What is that?" someone whispers. While the short rib sears, Sage moves. Her hands become a blur. Shallots. Minced so fine they're almost paste. Her knife work is fast, precise, every cut identical. The line cooks watch her hands. They've never seen her move like this. She deglazes the pan. Bourbon hits the hot surface. Flame erupts. Blue and gold. She doesn't flinch. Just lets the alcohol burn off, lets the sugars caramelize, lets the fond on the bottom of the pan become liquid gold. Beef stock, fresh thyme, bay leaf. The braising liquid builds in layers. She slides the short rib into a pan, pours the liquid over it, into the oven. 400 degrees. Timer set. 10 minutes at high heat, then drop to 325. No pause. No rest. The gastrique demand attention. Fresh blackberries. She crushes them with the back of a spoon. Sugar. The berries release their juice, deep purple, almost black. Cider vinegar. The acid hits the sugar and the kitchen fills with a smell like summer and autumn fighting for space. Black pepper. Cracked fresh. Just enough to make you wonder what that flavor is beneath the sweet and sour. She tastes it. A small spoon. Lets it sit on her tongue. Adjusts. 3 drops of lemon juice. Tastes again. Perfect. In the dining room, Hastings checks his watch. 12 minutes gone. The journalist leans forward. "Can you actually see into the kitchen?" "No," Hastings says, "but I can smell it. That's not beginner's luck. That's someone who knows what they're doing." Sage pulls the short rib from the oven. The meat has started to break down. The fat is rendering. She lowers the temperature, slides it back in. Now the puree. Celery root. Ugly. Knobbed. Underestimated. She peels it with quick, efficient strokes. Cubes it. Into boiling, salted water. While it cooks, she moves to the broccolini. Olive oil. Salt. She lays each stalk on a sheet pan with the care of an artist arranging brush strokes. Under the broiler. She'll watch it. Char it at the last second. The celery root is tender. She drains it. Into the blender. Butter. Cream. White pepper. A touch of nutmeg so subtle most people won't identify it. Will just know something tastes warm, comforting, right. She blends it. The puree becomes silk. Tastes it. Adjusts. More salt. A little more butter. Tastes again. Yes, 20 minutes gone. In the dining room, people have stopped pretending to eat their own food. They're watching the kitchen doors, waiting for smoke, for disaster, for something. What they smell is genius. Mrs. Baptiste sits with her hands folded. She's smiling. She knew. She's always known. Sage pulls the short rib from the oven. The meat is falling apart. Perfect. She lets it rest while she works on the broccolini. The broiler has done its job. The florets are charred. Not burned. Charred. There's a difference. The char adds bitterness to cut through the richness of everything else on the plate. 3 minutes left. This is the moment that separates cooks from chefs. The plating. The composition. The final translation of technique into art. Sage stops. The entire kitchen holds its breath. She's staring at the components in front of her. Short rib, puree, broccolini, gastrique. Is something wrong? Diego takes a half step forward. Sage reaches for a spoon, tastes the gastrique one more time. Her face is unreadable. She reaches for the lemon, zests 3 small curls, adds them to the gastrique, stirs once, tastes again, nods once. Sharp, decisive. Now she plates. The puree first, not spooned into a pile, swooshed across the plate with the back of a spoon. An arc of cream and earth, the short rib. She uses tweezers, not tongs. Tweezers. Places it with the precision of a jeweler setting a stone. The broccolini. Arranged like it grew that way. Natural, intentional. The gastrique. Small dots around the plate. Purple against white. Then one dramatic drizzle across the meat. She steps back. Looks at the plate. Almost. Microgreens. Just 3 pieces. Placed where they add color but don't distract. Flaky sea salt. 5 crystals. She places them by hand. Black pepper. 1 crack of the mill over the short rib. And then, the final touch. The thing she didn't plan. The thing her instinct demands. Orange zest. Fresh. She zests it directly over the plate. Just enough that you'll taste citrus in the back of your throat but never quite identify it. The plate is finished. In the dining room, Hastings looks at his watch. 30 seconds. The kitchen door swings open. Sage emerges. She's different. Her posture is different. The invisible server is gone. This woman holds a plate like it contains something sacred. She walks to Hastings's table. Every eye follows her. Every phone is recording. She sets the plate down in front of him with the precision of someone placing a crown on a king's head. Steps back, hands clasped, waits. The plate is a work of art. The colors, the composition, the way each element has space but also relates to the whole. Hastings stares. The journalist leans in. Richard, it's beautiful. Beauty is common, Hastings says quietly. Let's see if it's true. He picks up his knife and fork, cuts into the short rib. It yields like butter, like the meat is offering itself. He constructs the perfect bite, short rib, celery root puree, a piece of charred broccolini, drags it through the gastrique, lifts it to his mouth. The entire restaurant is silent. He chews. Slowly. His eyes close. 5 seconds pass. He takes another bite, then another. He's not performing now. He's experiencing something. He sets down his fork, looks at Sage. How long have you been cooking? Since I was 6, sir. No. How long have you been cooking at this level? Sage's voice is steady, clear. Always. I've always been cooking at this level. You just never asked. Hastings looks at the plate, half finished. He picks up his fork again, takes another bite. This short rib, it's braised perfectly, falling apart but not mushy. Another bite. The bourbon in the braise, I can taste it, but it doesn't overpower. Another bite. This blackberry gastrique, the acidity cuts the fat. The sweetness complements the meat. The pepper adds complexity I didn't expect. He tastes the puree alone. Celery root, earthy but refined. And something else. Nutmeg? That's brilliant. He tries the broccolini. The char on this vegetable isn't accidental. It's intentional bitterness to balance the dish. He sets down his fork, looks around the room, looks at the journalist. Write this down. This is a dish that belongs in a Michelin-starred restaurant. This woman composed it in 30 minutes from scratch in a working kitchen during service. He stands, faces Sage directly. You just changed my entire thesis. The restaurant erupts, not in whispers this time, in applause. Mrs. Baptiste stands first, clapping slowly, deliberately. Then Diego, whooping from the kitchen door. Then the line cooks pour out of the kitchen, clapping, shouting. Then the entire dining room rises, 80 people on their feet. The sound is deafening. Chef Sage! Someone starts it. Others pick it up. Chef! 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 As Sage stands perfectly still, the applause washes over her, 7 years of invisibility shattered in 30 minutes. Her hands start to shake again. Not from fear this time, from release, from 7 years of holding everything in finally breaking open. She doesn't cry, but her eyes shine. In the kitchen, Diego is filming on his phone. The other cooks are taking photos of her plate. This moment is already becoming legend. Hastings extends his hand to Sage. I apologize for underestimating you. That was my loss. She takes it. Firm handshake. Equals. A woman stands from a corner table. Elegant. Confidence. She approaches. Excuse me. Did you say her name was Sage? Hastings turns. Yes. Why? I'm Chef Simone Mercier, James Beard Award, 3 restaurants in Brooklyn. She walks to Sage, looks her in the eye. I've been eating here for 6 months. Every time there's something special on the menu, it's extraordinary. Every time I ask, they tell me Chef Marcus, but I knew it wasn't him. She pauses. It was you, all along, wasn't it? Sage's voice is quiet. Yes, Chef. Mercier smiles. Do you have a card? I'm a server, Chef. I don't have cards. Chef Mercier's smile widens. Not anymore, you're not. The applause continues. Rolling waves of sound that fill every corner of Laureate. Sage stands at the center of it. 7 years of being invisible. 7 years of being looked through, talked over, dismissed. And now, 80 people see her. Really see her. Chef Marcus stands near the kitchen. His face is the color of raw meat. His hands open and close at his sides. Hastings turns to him. The entire restaurant watches. You! His voice cuts through the applause. The room quiets. You had this woman in your kitchen and wasted her serving tables? Marcus's jaw works. She's not formally trained. She doesn't have the stamina for— Bullshit! Chef Mercier's voice is sharp. I watched her work for 30 minutes straight. She's better than half the cooks I've trained. Better than most chefs I know. Marcus looks at Pemberton. The manager has gone pale. He's calculating, trying to figure out which way the wind is blowing. Sage has been an invaluable member of our team, Pemberton says carefully. Hastings laughs. It's not a pleasant sound. Invaluable? Then why was she wearing a server's uniform? Pemberton has no answer. Sage steps forward. Her voice is quiet, but every person in the restaurant hears it. Because men like Chef Marcus see a black woman and decide what she's capable of before she ever picks up a knife. The words land like stones in still water. But the food doesn't lie. It never has. She picks up the cook's apron she wore, folds it, sets it on Marcus's chef station. Thank you for the opportunity to prove what I already knew. She turns, walks back toward the dining room. The applause erupts again, louder this time. Marcus stands frozen, his kitchen, his restaurant, his reputation. All of it crumbling in real time. Diego steps forward. Look at Marcus. Then at the other line cooks. She's been fixing your mistakes for 2 years, chef. We all know it. Everyone in this kitchen knows it. One of the other cooks nods. The honey harissa carrots. That was Sage. Another. The short rib reduction that saved the Times review. Sage. Marcus's face goes from red to white. Get back to your stations, all of you. No one moves. Hastings raises his voice. Wait. Sage. She stops. Turns. I owe you $10,000, but I'd like to offer you more. The room goes silent again. I'm funding a new restaurant concept, not automated. Humans, the best chefs, full creative freedom. I want you as executive chef, 120,000 base, equity stake, complete creative control. The offer hangs in the air. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Sage looks at him for a long moment. I don't know you, Mr. Hastings, and I don't make decisions based on one conversation. Hastings blinks. He's not used to being told no. That's fair. Can I at least get your contact information? Sage gestures to Mrs. Baptiste. She has it. She'll vet you first. Mrs. Baptiste cackles. Actually cackles. Oh, I will, baby. Don't you worry. The restaurant laughs. Real laughter. Relief and joy and the particular satisfaction of watching power shift in real time. Someone in the back shouts, "Post the video!" Already on TikTok, another voice calls. Instagram too. Twitter's blowing up. The phones have been recording everything. The moment is already viral, already spreading, already becoming something bigger than just one night in one restaurant. Hashtags are forming in real time. Hashtag #ChefSage. Hashtag justice for Sage. Hashtag know your worth. Hastings finishes the last bite of his short rib, uses his finger to get the remaining gas streak from the plate. Looks up at Sage. For what it's worth, I came here tonight to prove that human chefs were obsolete. That soul was just marketing. That artistry was just pattern recognition. He pauses. You proved me wrong. Completely. Absolutely. And I'm grateful for it. Sage nods once. Acknowledgement without forgiveness. She walks to Mrs. Baptiste's table, sits down heavily. Her legs suddenly became weak. Mrs. Baptiste takes her hand. I knew, the old woman says softly. I've always known. But knowing isn't enough. The world had to see it. And now they have. Sage's eyes fill. She doesn't let the tears fall. Not yet. But they're there. What do I do now? She whispers. Mrs. Baptiste squeezes her hand. Now, baby? Now you cook. On your own terms. In your own kitchen. For people who will finally know your name. In the kitchen, Diego is on his phone. Sage, you need to see this. The video has been up for 8 minutes. Already 500,000 views. The comments are flooding in. This is why representation matters. How many other talented people are invisible because we don't look? Everyone needs to know this story. Chef Marcus needs to be held accountable. Sage looks at the screen, sees herself, sees the moment she set down the plate, sees Hastings's face change, sees herself finally visible. Sage goes home that night at 11:30. She sits on her bed in her Bronx studio apartment, stares at her hands. They're steady now, but she can still feel the weight of the knife, the heat of the stove. Her phone won't stop buzzing. 47 missed calls, 200 notifications. She ignores all of it, calls her mother first. "Baby, it's almost midnight. What's wrong?" Sage's voice cracks. "Mama, I cooked tonight. Really cooked. And they saw me." Silence. Then her mother crying. "Your daddy would be so proud." They talk for 20 minutes. Her mother laughs, cries, asks everything. After hanging up, Sage opens her phone. The video has 23 million views in 12 hours. The comments make her cry. "I'm a black woman in tech. I know exactly how she feels. My mother cleaned houses for 30 years. She was the smartest person I knew. This is everyone who's been underestimated because of how they look." The next morning, Chef Simone Mercier calls. "I have a sous chef position at my Brooklyn restaurant, 75,000, full benefits, and I'll mentor you personally, not just cooking, the business, building, owning." 2 hours later, an email from Hastings's assistant, executive chef position, 120,000, equity, creative control. That afternoon, Food Network. "We want to develop a show, Hidden Kitchens. You'd host." The next day, a publisher. "Would you write a cookbook?" Then physical mail from Paris, Le Cordon Bleu. "Your scholarship offer remains open. We would be honored to welcome you back." Sage sits with all of it. The offers, the opportunities, the sudden visibility. She doesn't answer immediately. Takes a week. Cooks for herself, walks through Brooklyn, sits with Mrs. Baptiste over coffee. "What do you want, child?" Mrs. Baptiste asks. "Not what sounds impressive. What feeds your soul?" Sage thinks. "I want to cook on my own terms. I want a space where people like me don't have to fight to be seen." Then do that. Sage makes her decision. She accepts Mercier's mentorship. 3 days a week. Learning costs, management, the mathematics of keeping restaurants alive. She accepts a modified version of Hastings's offer. Not executive chef, consultant. Helps develop the concept but keeps her autonomy. Keeps her vision. The consulting money plus 10,000 plus a small business loan. Her own restaurant. Name, Sage, just her name. Simple, powerful. Concept, elevated comfort food. Creole, West African, Caribbean. The cuisines that raised her. Location, Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. Where people like her live. Where community matters more than Michelin stars. Hiring criteria, skill over credentials, heart over resume. Formerly incarcerated, older workers, immigrants, people overlooked. Her kitchen won't have a traditional hierarchy. It will be a collective. Opening date, 6 months away. Reservation list, 3,000 people long. 6 weeks after that night, Sage returns to Laureate. Not to work, to eat. Mrs. Baptiste arranged it. Sage's 37th birthday. Diego is running the kitchen now. Chef Marcus is gone. Asked to step down after 3 cooks came forward about stolen recipes. Diego sends out a special dish, Brussels sprouts, his way. With a note, "Thank you for teaching me courage tastes like bourbon and brown butter." Sage cries. Good tears. There's a plaque near the kitchen now. Where Chef Sage was discovered. Pemberton approaches nervously. "Sage, I want to apologize. I should have seen what was happening." She looks at him. You're doing something now. That matters. 8 months later, her restaurant space is under construction. Exposed brick, open kitchen, windows are full of light. Hastings became a minority investor. No creative control. He learned. His restaurant opened first. Human chefs. AI assists with efficiency. Humans control the soul. He credits Sage in every interview. She taught me innovation isn't a replacement. It's elevation. On a cold Tuesday, Sage stands in her empty space. Mrs. Baptiste beside her. You did it, baby. Not yet, Sage says, but I will. You already have. The moment you picked up that knife and refused to be invisible, that's when you did it. Sage smiles. Thank you for seeing me when no one else did. I didn't make them see you. You did that yourself. I just held the mirror. 6 months later. Soft opening night at Sage's restaurant in Bed-Stuy. The space is intimate, warm. Art from local black artists covers the walls. The open kitchen lets diners watch every move. Tonight's guests, Mrs. Baptiste, Chef Mercier, Diego, Sage's mother, flown in from Louisiana, Hastings, sitting quietly in the back, and 40 others. Sage stands at her station, expediting, tasting, adjusting, leading. This is her kitchen now, her rules, her voice. The tasting menu features 7 courses, but the centerpiece makes people smile. The Brussels sprout that changed everything. Deconstructed. Brussels leaves are fried crispy, bourbon brown butterfoam, blackberry gastrique dots, microgreens, a tribute to the dish that started it all, elevated, evolved. When it goes to tables, people photograph it. Then they eat it, really eat it, taste it, feel it. Richard Hastings asked a question that night at Laureate. Who made this? He expected to find someone to punish, someone to blame. Instead, he found a woman who'd been creating genius in secret for 7 years, waiting not for permission, but for a moment when silence was no longer survivable. How many brilliant people do you pass every day? The janitor who writes poetry on break, the Uber driver who was an engineer in his home country, the cashier who speaks 5 languages. The security guard is studying for her nursing degree. We live in a world that confuses credentials with capability, that mistakes visibility for value, that sees uniforms instead of humans. Sage could have stayed small, stayed safe, stayed serving tables and letting Chef Marcus take credit. But she chose to answer the challenge, not to prove Hastings wrong, to prove herself right. So here's the question. What are you carrying that the world hasn't seen yet? What talent are you hiding because no one's made space for it? And what would it take? What single moment of courage to claim that space anyway? Sage's story isn't rare, it's just rarely seen. If this moved you, if you've ever felt invisible, hit subscribe. Because every week I find stories like this. People who refused to stay hidden. People who cooked, built, created, and demanded to be seen. You won't want to miss it. Sage finishes plating. Look at her team. Service. They echo back. Service. The restaurant hums with life, laughter, the sound of forks on plates, the particular music of people experiencing something real. Sage catches her reflection in a polished pan, sees herself. Not a server, not an underdog, just a chef. She smiles, not for the cameras, not for the crowd, for herself. Sage didn't wait for the world to see her. She cooked until the world had no choice but to taste her. And once you've tasted genius, you can't pretend it doesn't exist. That Brussels sprout changed everything. But the truth is, Sage was always this extraordinary. The world just needed to catch up.